back to Camp Huachuca, the cavalry outpost, buys a bunch of supplies, comes right on back out here with just 30 cents left in his pocket. He invested everything. And he makes the largest strike or discovery of silver ore in the Southwest at that time. Now these cavalry guys there at Camp Huachuca, they were always giving Ed a hard time. They also thought he was crazy. And they warned him over and over, Ed, the only rock you'll ever find out there in those hills is your own tombstone. So as a joke, he called his first mine the Tombstone Mine. That's how the area, and then a few years later when there was a town, the town got the name Tombstone, was from his first mining claim. Very interesting character, Ed Shefflin. He's actually buried just outside of town here under the Shefflin Monument. He's buried in his original mining clothing with his pickaxe, his shovel, and his canteen by his... Like I said, 99% of your people coming into and make it back out. I'm very proud of that.
She can do the 1/10.
Hey, you know, for the right amount of money.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Come on now.
Anybody?
Come on, you city slickers. I
yeah,
got
they're
a
coming
lot
up.
to do. Alright. So now you see there's tunnels and holes and shafts going off in every direction. Alright, is that everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Alright. Tall people, please pay attention. This right here is the learning rock. Okay, the learning rock. Alright.
你睇講嘢㗎，講緊咩？講緊咩？
I heard that too. Okay, somebody asked what in the heck's a silver vein look like. It's this stuff right back here on this wall. See the black stuff running through the rock here? That is silver ore. This stuff right here, back there. 99% of silver comes in the form right here, this ugly black rock. That's what they're after. This is actually a combination of different minerals. It's silver chloride, manganese oxide, mixed with trace amounts of lead, tin, zinc, copper, and even a little bit of gold. But this is what they're after. Now these veins varied in size and quality literally by the inch, all mixed together with this limestone. That was waste rock. If it wasn't the black stuff, it was a nuisance and a byproduct. Now a lot of times they take all the waste rock up to the surface for no money. This is what's known as cribbing. Cribbing. This is hand-laid dry rock wall. There is no mortar holding any of this cribbing together. In this case, it helps to shore up or to support the back or the ceiling of the mine. You notice we don't have a lot of trees here. So this was a very creative way to save lumber, shore up the mine, and save themselves the work of having to haul these tons and tons of waste rock up to the surface for no money. We're going to transition into the next area here. Please watch your step, watch your heads, keep an eye on the young ones. 67 degrees all year long, no matter the surface temperature up above. All these mines are interconnected by ventilation shafts. Great big tunnels that have flush, there's constant airflow through them. Keeps it 67 degrees here, no matter the surface temperature up above. It's a pretty cool job. Yeah. Pardon the pun. So as you passed in that little passageway back there on the left-hand side, the far back wall, the geology there looked a little bit different. You may have noticed a lot of layers and stratification in the rock in that back wall. What you're seeing back there is the remnants of an ancient seabed. 250 million years ago, that was the bottom of the ocean. So that's all the layers of sediment on the seafloor that built up over millions of years. The ocean receded, the continent split apart, and then that stuff was compressed, became rock, and was left here in the middle of the Sonoran Desert, an ancient seabed. Yeah, it is amazing. The blue-green stuff you see back there from time to time, that is not turquoise. It's a copper-based mineral known as chrysocolla. Chrysocolla is basically worthless, except that it's a telltale. Chrysocolla is copper. It always runs around the outsides, the periphery of silver veins. So when you're prospecting up on the surface, that's one of the things you're looking for. You find chrysocolla and some other unique mineralogy, that's going to be where you want to start drilling and blasting down into the ground. And that's how all this got started. So here we are in another one of these stopes, big cavernous area that once contained a huge vein of silver. You may notice now there's a whole nother level up here above us, and again 3 levels below us down here in this mine. I know of stopes in some of our other mines that are 10 times bigger than this, but this is pretty impressive. And this was all carved by hand and dynamite by candlelight. All right, we're going to transition into the next area now. There's some red paint coming up. And please watch your step coming up this little ramp that I'm on here. Watch your step and watch your heads coming up.
Is that sulfur by any chance?
Yes, it is. That is exactly right. Any kind of yellowish gold stuff you see, it is sulfur. There's a nice little spot right up there. You would know this biblically as brimstone. Fire and brimstone. That's what they refer to as brimstone. And they did use this to make wooden stick matches back in the day. It's sulfur.
We'll see later after. I'm gonna take it later too.
Is that everyone? Or is somebody still back there?
That's it.
Okay. So this is the chapel Stoke, again a large cavernous area. The beauty of the chapel is that down here we find all original timber. Way back deep up in here. Way up in there. Back behind you to your left. There's a bend in that board right there, isn't that reassuring? This is all original timber, hand cut, hand sawn ponderosa pine. It was brought from about 20 miles out up in the Huachuca Mountains. There was a lot of work to get these timbers down here to shore up the mine. But as you can see, it's still doing its job. These men, again, were professionals. They came from all over the world, professional miners. They came from Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Cornwall, England, Sweden, Germany. They all came here to do mining. That's right, that's right. We have a lot of Irish and Scottish miners here. Yes, sir, yeah. So as you can see, this is still doing its job. These men were professionals and they got paid incredibly well. Miners here in Tombstone were making $4 a day. And they worked on average 6 and sometimes even 7 days a week, $4 a day. That doesn't sound like a heck of a lot of money today, does it? But by comparison, your average salary for one of your privates there in the cavalry at Camp Huachuca, or maybe a ranch hand out here, their salary was averaged between $15 and $25 a month. So $4 a day, 6-7 days a week, that was a lot of doggone money. And it's spent well here in Tombstone. You could rent a nice little miner's cabin for $15 a month. You could get a very good meal, just about anything you wanted, including seafood, for 50 cents. You could buy a sidearm like this one for $12.50 out of the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Today that same gun's about $500. And these miners all did carry guns. They got a lot of money and they don't trust banks, and somebody was always trying to take their money. So they all carried sidearms. More important, however, than all of that, you could get a beer here in Tombstone for a nickel. Those are the days. Watch your head, red paint. That and a half again for the 2 10-hour shifts, the 2 crews that they ran. They usually only worked in 3-man teams in a section like this. You didn't want to get bunched up down here, it got dangerous. So you may see some old-timey photographs of like 20 guys lined up along the wall drilling. That's just staged, it's not reality. Anyways, folks, this stuff right here in front of me, this is your raw silver ore. I'm going to pass around this big chunk right here. This is quite heavy. If it was high quality, which is not, it would have been stolen by now and it'd be 3 times heavier. But you can pass this around. It is quite heavy. Quite frankly, it's very long, complicated, and boring process. Involved hauling ore all over the place, down to the river, to the stamp mills, running through all kinds of big, nasty, steam-powered machines, jaw crushers, ball mills, stamp mills, pulverizing the ore to a powder. It was then mixed in with water, became like wet concrete. They heated it up with steam and added quicksilver, which is mercury. They added mercury, copper sulfite, sodium chloride salt, heated that poisonous concoction up for a long time. The mercury bonded together all of the silver ore into huge clumps known as amalgam. They rinse everything else away as waste or mill tailings, so you got these huge clumps of amalgam, bonded mercury and silver. They'd roast that to a high temperature. The mercury would evaporate, vaporize, leaving behind the now purified silver. That was melted down and poured into huge rectangular molds to create ingots or bullion, 180-pound bars of silver. They made them that big and that heavy because it made them hard to steal. 180-pound bars of silver. You're not throwing 5 of those on your pony after robbing the stagecoach hauling the bullion. You wouldn't get very far very fast, and it would actually kill your horse after just a couple hundred yards. So the Treasury Department of the U.S. federal government, they buy up all the ingots and bullion from Tombstone. They eventually take it by mule team to the nearest railroad in the little town of Fairbank out here. That's as close as the railroad got till 1903. There they look. By the way, go to Fairbank if you have the opportunity. It's a beautifully preserved little ghost town, well worth a visit out here. That's our railroad hub. So they took it by mule team there, all the bullion, loaded it onto boxcars, hauled it by steam locomotive, eventually all the way, bless you, all the way across the country to the little town of New Orleans, Louisiana. Anybody heard of that place? New Orleans, Louisiana. And that is where they had the new federal mint. I think somebody stole my Morgan silver dollar. That's not good. Anyway, that's where they hauled it down to the new federal mint, and that's where they made Morgan silver dollars. That was the end product. Oh, here they are, right here. This is the finished product, Morgan silver dollars. From ugly black rock to shiny Morgan silver dollars. This was the standard currency of the day, and this is what it was all about.
And that's pure silver.
That is pure silver, 99.some%, yeah. A little bit of copper in it. So that's what it was all about, Morgan silver dollars, ugly black rock to shiny, pretty silver coin. So the miners are spending all the money they're making, they're having a good time, the mining companies are making huge profits. Thousands of people flood in here to get work to support the mining infrastructures. Blacksmiths, shoe cobblers, snake oil salesmen, businessmen, entrepreneurs. Everybody's flooding in here. Pretty soon you get a lot of bad guys because there's a lot of money floating around. So the bankers, lawyers, and politicians, the bad guys, they showed up here. Then along came the good guys to save the day. I use that term pretty loosely. So you had Wyatt Earp, his brothers, Morgan, Virgil Warren, those guys. Some crazy man named Doc Holliday, he shows up here. He wants a piece of the Tombstone pie as well. Then along come the cowboys, the guys with the red sashes, curly bill brooches, Johnny Ringo, the cowboy gang. Then come the Clantons and the McClarys. You may have heard of them. Those are the boys that get gunned out at some famous 28-second gunfight that happened near the OK Corral. So the Clantons and McClarys, they're out here. Why are they here? They're cattle thieves. They're cattle rustlers. They're going on raids into Mexico. They're stealing all the cattle, smuggling it across the border, rebranding it, and selling it here. Who's buying all that beef? Who's got the money? Miners. Beans suck. That's what they ate for lunch most of the time was beans. By the way, it's horrible. So they're buying steak in the morning, steak at night, maybe a little lobster on the side. That's a heck of a luxury. So that's what brings everybody here. It was a mining town, and it was a 24-hour-a-day town just like Las Vegas because the mines ran 24 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. So the town had to as well to accommodate all these 3,000 to 5,000 miners that worked in the Tombstone mining district. So that's what it was all about. It wasn't like the Hollywood movies, folks. We're going to head on out of here, get back up to the daylight.
I am. And I'm older.